always one of the goals of the program is to go undefeated at home. So it's a disappointing loss on Sunday. But, you got to give credit to South and their team. Their pitcher did a great job, and we're going to work on some things and hopefully get it turned around. And, the SEC, we always call it the second season. And this is a rarity where we don't have a midweek, so it'll be good for us to have 3 practices before we go down, and we're not going to go down until Friday morning. So we'll drive down Friday and then get to the game. I think it starts at 5 on Friday afternoon, and it's supposed to be good weather all weekend, and we're looking forward to it. So it seems like we haven't played Auburn forever, and certainly down there it's been a long time. And I know they have a new hitting facility, and Mickey's got some good things going on, and I'd love to see what they've got, in terms of new facilities.
All right, we'll start the questions off with Brett.
Hey, Coach, you just alluded to it just a second ago. You haven't played Auburn since the SEC tournament in 2018. I was looking at the roster. Only 5 girls from that 2018 roster are still on the team. Can you kind of speak about bringing in the new girls, the younger girls, kind of what it means to play at Auburn and, so to speak, the Iron Bowl, and to really get an SEC play?
Yeah, well, the young lady that was sitting here before me, Alyssa, is going to be one of the first ones I asked to speak about that because she's an Alabama kid. Claire Jenkins is another one. She's from Coleman, so she absolutely knows the rivalry. Obviously, Bailey Hemphill does. She's been around for now, this is her 5th year, so we do have some people that can speak about that. But also, I can lean on my pitching coach, Stephanie Van Brakel Prothrow, who went through it for 4 years as a player, 1 year as a student assistant coach, then obviously as a coach for Alabama. So she knows the rivalry in and out. And there might be some kids that don't. And I think it was Najee Harris that kind of has said that about football. And, I'm sure a lot of his teammates educated him in a hurry what is all about. And it seems, when you said, what was it, 2018? Yeah, it's been a while. And when we looked at all their box scores and stuff, they have a lot of new kids too that we have never seen. Like on the film, it's the first time we've seen them play. So it's going to be really different this year because it has been such a long time.
Go ahead, Robert.
Coach, you just alluded to it that you're going up against 2 freshman pitchers who obviously haven't faced them. There's little film to them as they just started their career. How much more important is in-game adjustments going to be in order for your offense to be successful?
Well, if they obviously they're going to throw a starter, but if they change, that's the key. Because it's one freshman is a righty, 1 freshman is a lefty. They have another lefty, and I think they have 2 more righties. So they have 5 kids that have thrown. So most SEC pitching staffs this year are bigger than usual because your kids were allowed to return. So people are having to prepare for additional pitchers instead of maybe 2 or maybe 3. And, we have 5. So that's kind of like been the minimum really of pitching staffs is 5 this year because so many kids wanted to return. So the biggest adjustment is if we do, knock the starter out, we need to do a better job of getting to the next kid. And I thought we did a good job of that in the second game against Northern Iowa where they took their starter out, and then we run ruled the second kid. That was one of the best, performances we had against a relief pitcher all year. Savannah hit the grand slam, and boom, the game's over. So, we've seen a lot. The first 20 games. We've seen lefties, we've seen righties, and North Carolina had a really, really good lefty, so we got to see her, which is a good thing. South Alabama's kid threw hard, threw up. She had a good game against us, so. The more that we see, the better off we're going to be going into conference. And, 20 games is a good start.
Go ahead, Katie.
Coach, you said last week in media availability that you had told your team that they really need to relish the shutouts because it's hard to do these days. And then since then, your staff pitched 2 more and then 2 one-run games, including Jayla's first start. Are you pleased with where your pitching staff is at heading into this second season, as you called it? And do you feel like you were able to develop some depth and experience in the first non-conference season?
Oh, definitely. And I'm glad you brought up Jayla, too, because, the Northern Iowa coach is a good friend of mine. And he was very complimentary of Jayla and her first start, and as a freshman coming in, at home. I know she had a bunch of jitters. Parents were there, all those things to go into your first start. And then, I think one of her first pitches was 68 miles an hour, and it just kind of was like, her setting the tone for her career. Just really proud of her. She's going to have a lot of little girls across the South and the country. They're going to look at her and say, I want to be like Jayla Torrance. And it's really cool to see that. So, and she consistently hit 68, 70, 71. So she's going to really help us. I thought Crystal Goodman had a great game, the other day. Sarah Cornell pitched well on Sarah Cornell Day on Saturday. The goal going into the weekend was to get everybody a start, and we did that. So all 5 pitchers got a start. Kilfoyle actually should have thrown a shutout. I think we had a bobble in the infield that prevented that. So otherwise, she would have thrown another shutout. She's been doing great. Her ERA is like, unbelievable. I think it's .16, which I haven't seen that in college softball in probably 20 years at least, or longer, when the ball was white, and you probably weren't even alive then. So, yeah, I'm pleased with our pitching staff. I think Steph's done a really good job. There's 6 pitchers on the roster, so that's a lot of kids to work with. I have to credit our student managers, too, for catching all the bullpens, because that is a lot of pitches thrown, in practices in the off season.
I'll go to Robert.
Coach, also on the pitching staff, how important is it, since they've been successful, how important is it that they don't try to do too much now in conference play, just keep doing what they've been doing?
Yeah, you don't have to change it up. One of the first things we're going to do at practice today is we're going to sit socially distance, and we're going to go over the first 20 games. Tell us one thing that you've done well, and tell us one thing you need to work on. So each kid is going to do that, and then the coaching staff is going to do the same thing. We're going to tell her one thing she's done well and one thing that we need to work on. It's going to be very specific. And I think for all the pitchers, continue to do what you've done right now. But there's also a couple things that each one needs to do to get better. And I guarantee you, Robert, that as we were sitting and doing those as a coaching staff a minute ago, we said, I bet you that some of the players come up with exactly what the coaches do. And I think you'll see a couple of veterans that, we're not going to read ours first. They're going to tell us theirs first. But I'm putting money on it that they will tell us exactly what we're going to say to them. They're just that in tune with their game, with strategy. So I'm hoping that happens. Maybe next week we can talk about that again.
Go ahead again, Robert.
Coach, on Sunday's Zoom conference, you said that KB Sides might be back for this weekend. I asked Alyssa Brown about it, and she kind of sounded positive that KB Sides will be back. Can you speak on that, if she will be back, or to give him time to pigeon?
Yeah, I think today they're gonna let her practice half reps, so she can do half the swings, half the defense of everybody. And then after the practice is over, KB and AC Atinka, our trainer, will probably, judge how it feels, and then our doctor will probably get involved. And then we'll see, again, like maybe tomorrow she gets to do 3/4, and then maybe Thursday she'll let her loose and say, you can do all the reps. But we'll see how she feels after today. Hopefully, it'll be okay, because she's been, when we do Team BP before all the tournament games, she wants to be the first one in line in the cages, even though she's not playing, because she can still hit. So hopefully she'll be ready.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey Murph, when you have a game like Sunday where you do get shut out, what do you do first practice back to kind of flush that from the hitter's memories?
Yeah, it's good to see you on here, Jeff. Really good. I hope you've been doing well. I screwed up a couple times, I think, strategy-wise during the game. So that's the first thing I was thinking about on the way home. You always think about the ifs and the buts and whatever. I wish I would have done that. Wish I would have done that. Wish I would have called a sacrifice here or whatever. So I'm going to kind of tell them the things that I thought that I screwed up on. And then, you know, I think it was the first time we've lost to South Alabama ever. So that was a big deal for them, and kudos to them. It was a good game by her. They made the plays. The girl that got the RBI, it was a 2-out. I think it was 2 strikes. It was a clutch hit. So, you know, they did everything they needed to do to win, and we didn't do what we needed to do. So they did a good job. They earned the win. But to not have that happen in the future, you know, there's a really, really good video, and it's an old video. It was by the Dallas Cowboys. It's probably 15 to 20 years old. But the title of the video is "It Doesn't Happen by Accident." And it's maybe a 4 to 5 minute video of explaining that wins and losses don't happen by accident. You either have to do something or you don't do something to win or lose. And I'm going to refer back to that video for sure. But we just have to make more things happen. Like Alyssa, she was only up twice. She's in the 9 spot, you know, but she only got up twice in the game. And I think that was the first time all year long that she only got up twice. So we didn't turn the lineup over at all. You know, we just didn't have extended at-bats. We didn't have extended innings. I think we went 9 up, 9 down for the first 3 innings, which that's the first time that's happened. So there's a lot of things to learn of what we did wrong in that game.
Any other questions for Coach Murphy? Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, you coached in a lot of big softball games, but how much extra juice is there in the dugout for an Alabama-Auburn game?
Well, it's especially this year because you know, like I've said, it's been a while since we played them and gone down there. Plus, it's the opening, you know, SEC weekend series, so it's really, really fun for everybody. You know, we have a lot of Alabama girls on our roster. They have a lot of Alabama girls, so softball is 6 degrees of separation. Everybody knows everybody somehow, some way. You know, you either played with them in summer ball, you played against them, you know, we recruited against them. So there's a lot of familiarity with both programs, the coaching staff. You know, Mickey and I have been friends for years. He brought his James Madison teams down to Alabama. We played them in Tuscaloosa several times. You know, he's always had good teams. So it is going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of energy, I think. I think the Sunday game is televised. So we can't wait to get going because it's been forever since we played an SEC game, period. But I think it's going to be a really good series.
Go ahead, Brett.
Hey, Coach, you just alluded to it early, just a second ago, but I believe Alabama softball is one of the only programs not to beat Auburn this year in this sporting year. I'm wondering if you got any calls maybe from Coach Oates or Coach Saber, any of them saying, let's wrap it up and get a clean sweep of those Tigers.
No, I should have. I walked through the gym and they were just getting down to practice. I should have went down to Nate and said, well, okay, tell me what I need to do. So, no, hopefully after the weekend it'll be a good outcome.
Any other questions, Coach Murphy? All right, if not, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot, you guys.